Hey guys, it's Sam with 2M's and welcome to this MYXclusive interview. Yes, I'm so excited to be here with all of you because in just a bit I'll be having a very special guest who will be joining me, and he is a very promising talent in the music industry who has been serving us like great bops and great music, and I'm so excited to talk to him about his music, also how he's been these days because he's currently on tour with Gracie Abrams right now. So I'm so excited to have him join us here today. So everyone, please welcome for the first time ever on MYXclusive, we have Forrest Nolan.
Woo! Hey. Hi. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Like she said, my name's Forrest Nolan, and I'm so happy to get to speak to all of you.
Yes, we're so excited that you're here, Forrest. Obviously, I just said a while ago that you're on tour, so thank you for joining us despite being on tour.
Of course. No, I'm happy to do it. This is super exciting.
Yay. Yeah, we're so excited to have you here, obviously, to talk about your music. But before we get to that, how have you been these days? I know you're on tour, probably busy, but, in terms of, life, how's life for you, Forrest?
Everything has been super fun. This tour kind of happened really last minute. So, and it's obviously a pretty big moment for me. Gracie Abrams is an artist I actually looked up to. So it feels super special to get to be working with her on this tour. And debuting some new music, and it's been really fun. It's been an amazing time.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's pretty wild. Being like Gracie being someone you looked up to, and now you're touring with her. That's
totally. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with her, but like she'd have these food Instagram stories that I was always really looking up to just as inspiration, honestly, because the food looked amazing. So obviously she makes incredible music too, but pretty wild.
I love that it was the food Instagrams that really got you, but I love her music too.
That stuff is special. And she's an incredible songwriter, incredible artist, and she's been playing a lot of her new music on tour, and I can say that I'm super stoked for it to come out officially. The music is really good.
Oh, that's so wild. I'm so excited to hear it, but we're even more excited that you're here, obviously, because, this is going to be your first time talking about, music and all of that. But before we actually get to music, I know in the past year and a half, kind of like we've all been at home, kind of just like dealing with our personal stuff and kind of also having, existential crisis like every now and then. But for you, Forrest, like how has it been? But now like things are slowly obviously opening up for you guys too. But how has it been kind of looking back at the last year and a half and like what you were able to do in that past time?
Yeah, I think interestingly, while I really love spending time with people and meeting new people, I kind of have always been relatively introverted. So it didn't feel like the biggest change in the world other than not being able to sit in restaurants and go to live music shows. I always loved going to live music. But I luckily had like an amazing group of friends that I got to hang out with pretty regularly. Like we had our own little pod. And without them, it would have been a whole different story. But I feel like I made it through, and I was writing some new music at the same time. So I tried to do what I could, the best I could with the situation. But it's super exciting to see things start to open up again. I since then have moved to LA from where I grew up, San Francisco. So that was a kind of a huge change for me, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And so that happening at the same time as things opening has been a really fun, exciting, potentially overwhelming experience.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially like you said, you're kind of an introvert, right? And moving to a
Yeah.
new city obviously is like, it can be a little bit like overwhelming, like what you said, I can imagine. But it's great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
totally. No,
yeah.
it's interesting trying to
Mhm.
make new friends to hang out with. That's a
Yeah.
pretty particular experience,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot of effort, I would say. And I'm trying to
No,
just let
yeah.
it happen organically. I actually the place I moved into, I
Mhm.
moved with my younger brother, so we're
Mhm.
keeping each other company. So it doesn't really feel like I need that much more social stimulus, but
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, I am looking forward to making new friends.
No, yeah, I can imagine, like, after being at home, like, during the pandemic,
Hmm.
and, like, having to interact with other people in real life, I can't
Oh
even,
yeah.
like it's, like, a little bit weird right now, just the concept of making new friends, but I totally
Yeah,
get you.
totally.
But
No,
at least
I
it looks
totally
like,
feel.
yeah, I feel like you're settling in. So that's
Hmm.
good. And working on the tour, of course, but also trying to keep your friends and family still close to you despite everything that's been going on. I mean, that's great to hear.
Hmm.
But also, like in the past year, right? We've also had a lot of time to explore a lot of different things. So for your music, like, what did that mean for you? Like, kind of navigating all of that during this past time.
Well, I happen to be going through a pretty particular scenario where
Mm-hmm,
I was kind of starting from scratch for the music stuff. I
mm-hmm.
like used to be in a band in high school,
Yeah.
which was years back, and we had put out music, and then I started doing stuff on my own, like as a
Mm-hmm,
solo artist. And then I went through the experience of kind of taking all that music down and changing my
mm-hmm.
name and kind of starting all over again.
Ah,
So that
mhm.
was happening during that whole like pandemic going on,
Oh.
and it was a pretty slow and like meticulous process where
Mhm,
we were really careful with which songs we want to put out when. And yeah, it's been so exciting the whole time, and
mhm,
things have been working out in a really nice
mhm.
way so far.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes that's all we need, starting from scratch, because kind of
Hmm.
like, refresh the mindset and all of that. And it's cool. Like, it's been, I feel like really working for you because like the music has really been growing every day, getting like so many streams on many
Oh, thank
different platforms. It's just amazing to see you grow as a artist. But was this always something that you knew you wanted to do, like put out music and,
you.
share your music with everyone?
I think it was.
Mhm, mhm,
I remember an anecdote my mom used to tell me of like
mhm,
being at one of my sisters. I have an older sister. She's 10 years older
mhm,
than me. So when I was just a baby, she was performing at like the middle school drama performance. Like they had a
ooh,
kind of musical thing,
mhm.
and she told me like I obviously she was exaggerating, but she would talk about how I stole the show as like a 3-year-old baby singing from the audience. Um, so I
Cute.
think for some reason I have always been really drawn to music. I ended up being in a
Mhm.
boys choir after that, and
Oh.
that
Mhm,
I've kind of followed my entire life to the extent that I became an assistant director of that same boys choir I grew up singing in. That
wow.
they're called the Golden Gate Boys Choir. I definitely want to put their name out there. That was a
Mhm,
really integral experience to who I am.
mhm,
And so yeah, music was definitely. I mean, in so many different circumstances, music was a part of my life. Also, my
mhm,
parents loved playing music of different
mhm,
kinds all throughout the house, and yeah, it's always been something I've been drawn to, and kind of just
mhm,
wanting to follow in the footsteps of a lot of those musical role models for me was
mhm.
always in the back of my head for sure.
Wow. So music has like been a really big part of your life ever since you were like young, like 3 years old. That's wild. I don't even know what I was doing at 3. I can't even
Yeah,
remember
no,
what
I
I was
mean,
doing.
it wasn't a very sure thing until
Yeah.
more recently, maybe after high
Mhm,
school or even during
mhm,
high school.
mhm.
But yeah, I think I started songwriting when I was around 11 because I
Ooh,
picked up guitar because of
yeah.
an old video game
Mhm.
called Guitar
Oh.
Hero. I don't know if that
Oh my
name
god.
is familiar.
Great
Um,
game. We all wanted to be rock stars,
yeah,
obviously.
no, I think so.
Yeah.
That's kind of where maybe it all stemmed from. And yeah, so naturally, once I started playing guitar, it made sense
Mhm.
to want to try writing music. So yeah, if it weren't for that game, I would not be here, honestly. So I'm thankful that happened.
Shout out to Guitar Hero
Yeah,
for making all of our rock star dreams come true. I love that you actually learned guitar after that. I mean, I didn't pursue guitar after that, but that's really cool that you were able to.
I was fortunate to have a lot of guitars in the house. And like we had a piano in the house growing up, and I actually think having a piano in the house growing up was also really important to just like being able to figure out how music works a little bit. So yeah, no, music was definitely very much a huge part of my life growing up.
Yeah, and you said you started songwriting at 11. So do you remember like the stuff that you would write about at 11 years old?
Yeah, it was definitely like the most emo, like angsty music you could possibly imagine. I actually have so many memories of being on like a school bus. I would like take the seat where like no one was around and go to the back of the bus and be in like the corner on my own, like daydreaming and singing, like freestyling entire songs, like in the style of Green Day. Like specifically, I have like a very real distinct memory, just like improvising lines, super emo, like about, I don't know about loneliness necessarily, or maybe feeling like an outsider. I think that was always a kind of big part of my identities. I felt like a little different than a lot of my peers. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like I grew up listening to a lot of like pop punk too. So I feel like we're kind of in the same age group too. So I totally get like where all of your like music influences you are coming from. But how did you turn all of that? Like obviously you were part of a choir too. And then you played a lot of Guitar Hero and also, you know, listened to a lot of different music. How did you turn all of that into the kind of sound that you have now as an artist? Because it's a little bit distinct also from, you know, the stuff that you used to listen to when you were growing up. So
yeah, totally. I think a really important part of it is just the kind of foundations that I had, whether it was singing in the boys choir, we were doing a lot of like classical music, but then, and I think singing classical music really informed my music taste in high school, which was probably the most formative for me. I was listening to a lot of Elliott Smith. I don't know if you'll recognize these artists' names. Also Jeff Buckley, and then my favorite band of all time was always Radiohead. And so these are all like super alternative acts, kind of like indie. You have to excuse my younger brother in the background.
No problem.
And yeah, he didn't quite make it out of the door. I think he realized I was talking to someone. So yeah, those like really, and also those kind of artists are pretty aesthetically like, very alternative, underground, almost like outsider-y. So having that foundation, and then the kind of other huge factor of it was learning how to do music production on my own. So I just watched like a ton of YouTube videos on how to make music and how to record it. And I think when you do that yourself, then you really start to form your own identity sonically and with the music. So through years and years of practicing that, I think I'm finally kind of coming to a place where I'm making music that sounds like how I envisioned it in my head so many years ago, or that just like feels like myself. So, that's a long answer to your question for sure.
No, but I totally get what you mean. Like you have these like many foundations that, you know, can be attributed to the kind of music that you make now. Obviously the stuff that you have in your head, you're able to express now through music by like, obviously everything that you've listened to in the past and everything you've learned through YouTube. Very, I super relate. We can learn everything on YouTube. So it's really cool
gosh. YouTube is one of the most insane resources in the world. I mean, same with like Google. It's insane to just know we can learn absolutely anything. And it's crazy. Like I learned how to mix music on YouTube. Like I didn't do any formal training. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, all for free. I mean, you have to invest in the equipment, but
for sure.
Even the equipment is so accessible these days compared to like recording costs. Even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, especially, it was a lot more expensive. So yeah, if anyone's listening to this who wants to make music, I fully support it, and just straight up Google search or YouTube how to make music, and you will learn it.
That is so true. You literally just have to Google that one question
Yeah.
and it will give you so many answers.
Mhm.
So to
Yeah,
everyone
and
watching, this is your sign.
yeah, and another piece of advice is just like
Hmm.
keep uh, feeling determined. Don't let yourself get
Hmm.
discouraged if the music at first doesn't really sound like
Yeah.
how you want it to. It really
Hmm.
takes a lot of practice, and
Hmm.
but it's been incredible to like reflect on the last few years and
Hmm.
recognize kind of the progression I've made on my own,
Hmm.
and to witness firsthand that you can get better at these things and like proficient enough to potentially
Hmm.
make a career out of it, just by practicing. I mean, yeah. So yeah, if anyone's watching this who wants to do music, yeah, totally do it. Just you got to practice and be patient.
Yeah, that is so true. Now I feel like I want to make music. I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah,
but
you really
I
should
mean, yeah,
if you want
I'm
to.
gonna you're gonna see me my Google search later how to make music. I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
but you know, nothing's impossible. Obviously, like we've been talking, Forrest did say that he started from scratch and now he like obviously has been really growing into his own as an artist. I love that I'm talking about you to you, but I do want to talk about Summer Vibe, obviously, because this was a song that really grew like massively since you
Mhm.
released it back in May, and has millions of streams. So how does it feel, like Forrest, after kind of fall like looking for your sound and kind of almost finding it and like putting it
Mhm.
out there, and people are loving the stuff that you've been releasing?
Mhm. It feels really crazy and
Hmm.
special, and I feel like so lucky to know that all these years of practice kind of were worth it.
Hmm.
And there's so much risk involved. I'm so thankful for my mom for like supporting
Oh.
my wanting to try and make music. Like
Hmm.
what that meant was just spending hours and hours in the basement of the house I grew up in.
Hmm.
Instead of going to like a formal university, I
Hmm.
went to community college over
Hmm.
in the city I grew up in.
Hmm.
So it was doing that at the same time as just practicing music. So it felt extremely validating to get
Hmm.
to put out a song and then hear back from fans. I think that tends to be the most meaningful experience. Actually, a lot of people
Hmm.
in my Instagram DMs tend to be from the Philippines, and it's always
Oh
like
my God.
so mind blowing to imagine people so
Hmm.
far away
Yeah.
um, physically are
Hmm.
connecting to a song that I wrote. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's an incredibly encouraging and inspiring experience to have a song that people like. It seems like so it's super
Hmm.
special.
No, yeah, people definitely like it. Don't worry, you can own it. The people like the song, and I love that a lot of Filipinos DM you about the song. Maybe because we feel very related to it. Because
Oh,
I feel like all year long it's summer here, so it's like
mhm.
the perfect kind of vibe too. If summer were a song, I feel like it would be Summer Vibe. It's such
Oh,
a
thank
such a
you. That's
it's
that's
such a
so
good song.
sweet.
No, yeah, it's such a good song, I swear. Like as a Filipino myself, obviously I can like really relate to it, and such a good vibe for whatever time of day over here too. So we're so excited that you were able to put that out. But also you recently put out a new song called Hotel Room. So can you tell us more,
Mhm,
Forrest, about like what this song is about? I thought it was really interesting to
mhm,
listening to it after Summer Vibe. So
mhm.
yeah, what what,
Yeah,
what 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 inspired this one?
no, definitely. It's definitely pretty
Mhm.
different
Yeah.
sonically. It kind of
Hmm.
feels like a different energy altogether.
Hmm.
And I think it it was important to me to, I guess, put out music that uh, like not hold back anything that felt like it was super
Hmm.
different. I think people our taste is really diversifying lately. Like I've asked people what kind of music they listen to, and almost
Hmm.
never is it just one genre or even two. It's
Yeah.
always the answer is pretty much 100% of the time like, oh, I listen to 100% of everything. But Hotel Room in particular was just inspired by as a lot of the music I have written was inspired by that end of a relationship, a romantic relationship
Mm-hmm.
that actually ended up in me being broken up with. So that
Hmm.
song in particular, the feeling, the emotion I was going through was just wanting to get away from everything. Like part of it was even being like I'm embarrassed to tell my family that I was broken up with. So I was like, I don't
Mhm.
even want to be home
Oh
right now.
yeah.
I'd rather like so a kind of metaphor for that was like just going out to a hotel room and like spending time with myself, and getting away from everything I know. So yeah, that was kind of the essence of that song for sure for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate. I mean, that sucks. Like that feeling obviously sucks. So a lot of people can obviously relate, not just me, but a lot of people. And I love that you're able to express that through obviously the music too. And yeah, I love that you were kind of, it was a little bit different from Summer Vibe because it's so true. Like people listen to so many different things nowadays. Even genre is so fluid too, so it's like you don't really know what's what anymore. It's just good music is good music, and I think Hotel Room is like a good it was a good indication of like the kind of music that you can make too, like the versatility of the music.
Well, thank you. No, and you're very perceptive to be able to speak that way about it too. That's really cool, so thank you.
No, yeah, I'm like a huge music nerd, so I love talking about like music and all of that. So I mean, it's really exciting to get to hear music from you, and we're even more excited for all of your future releases because we know you have so much in store in terms of things that you want to do with your music. So what else can we expect coming from you, Forrest? Like, are there certain things with your music that you want to try out that you haven't tried out yet, or like something that we can look forward to in the future?
Yeah, totally. I think there's a lot in store for the future for sure. Some of it is more concrete than others. In particular, I'd love to announce that my next single is actually going to come out in 2 weeks on September 29th. So that's going to be a pretty big moment because it's a song that's really important to me. It's a pretty fun one that I actually happened to write with a friend. His name is Adam Pelvin. So shout out to him, and it's called MIA, and it's like a very like fun, kind of sarcastic, like happy. Well, ironically, because I guess I won't spoil what the song's about, but yeah, it's a fun one. So look forward to that. That's coming out on September 29th. And on top of that, I want to announce that I'm actually going to release my debut EP later in November. So there's going to be a ton of material coming out. Really soon, and yeah, I will be so grateful for any support you guys can. Anyone listening right now, once those come out, I would appreciate you sharing it with your friends because these are the songs I'm really excited about. So hopefully you guys will feel the same way. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh my God, that's so exciting! Obviously, like the single coming in 2 weeks, September 29th. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, September 29th. Yeah.
September 29th, and obviously your EP too. We're so excited for your debut EP. That is crazy.
Thank you.
It's so exciting because after hearing obviously your music, the ones that you released so far, it's made us so excited for your future releases too. And you said that these are the songs that you personally love and are so excited for. So we can't wait to hear all of that. And obviously your fans from the Philippines are also really excited. I'm speaking on behalf of all of them. So we're all really excited for that. And before I do let you go, Forrest, do you have a message to all of your Filipino fans who are so excited that you're putting out music, but also so excited for the time that we can have you over and have you play a show for everyone?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, my message is thank you. Also, shout out to Lumpia in the Bay Area. We have a lot of Filipino people, and like families from the Philippines, especially from the boys' choir. The boys' choir that I was in, a lot of the different boys were from the Philippines, and their families would bring food. So something that always stood out was the lumpia. Oh my gosh, such incredible cuisine. So, yeah, shout out to Filipino cuisine. I can't imagine how much better it tastes when you're actually there too. So, and again, yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening to the music, and for especially if you're listening to this right now, that really means a lot to me. And I can't wait to meet you all in person one day.
Yes, and I can guarantee that the food is more amazing when you come here, and the show is going to be amazing because, like you said, you had a lot of Filipino boys on your choir. Filipinos love to sing,
yeah.
So when you come here, when you come here and play a show, you're going to be blown away.
That is so amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to do my best to make it happen. So we got this.
we're gonna manifest it. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
look back at this interview and be like, we called it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago, we called
Hmm.
it Forrest
Yeah.
coming to the
Let's make it
Philippines. So we
happen
can't
next
wait.
year. We can do this.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
for
next year,
sure. We
guys.
can. Yeah, to everyone who's listening, it's gonna be next year. Wow! But we
Yeah.
can't wait, obviously, for that for us. But for now, we're gonna savor all of your music online. So to everyone who's tuning in, don't forget to stream Forrest Nolan's music. It's available on multiple digital streaming platforms, and you can also check out his music videos on YouTube as well. But thank you so much, Forrest, for joining us
Oh,
here on
thank you
this.
again. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
thank
for having me.
you.
It's such an honor. So thank you again.
Yes, it's an honor for us too. And thank you as well to everyone who tuned in to this MYXclusive interview. Once again, this has been Sam with two M's and Forrest Nolan. Thank you so much, you guys.